It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The You-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at youlike.com, because at YouLike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ULIKE.com. YouLike. With Ease US, make studio-quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high-quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional-grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Just use AMP-Pace.
AMP-Pace.
Back in the Alico building in Central Texas. The draft is next week. I can't believe it. The football draft does sneak up on you if you're not like a total draftnik. And we are primed. I mean, I've got like a porterhouse steak for you as far as the draft is concerned. I got Todd McShay and Steve Mensch coming up. Two guys who are near and dear to my heart and who are prominent in the draft world. They're both at the Ringer now. They are getting primed for the NFL draft. They're going to do live shows in California, first, second, third round. They'll be at Ryan Russillo's house on Sunday for the third round. Prior to that, they'll be at the Ringer Studios. The McShay Show is where you can get all the intel. And the McShay Report, you got to subscribe to that. It is beyond informational as we get set for the draft and inside information especially. The Pete Sousa Show, of course, brought to you by Slovacic's Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, our good friends at Socorro Family Ford. Just kind of re-upped with Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, and the reason I mention that is because we've got a greater partnership with them. And if you at all ever had an experience with Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, and maybe you haven't because you haven't had to, and that's good, but they're the best. They're the best in the business. So thrilled to continue our relationship with them. The University of Colorado, or Colorado University, I should say, did something that will forever link them to Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. You want to talk about a partnership. It was announced, I think, 3 days ago. Look at that. Yeah, Scotty Swingler he's on it, dude. But you could say, yeah, prime privilege, right? Nobody's got an issue with Travis Hunter getting his number retired, his jersey retired. You could, if you want to split hairs on that one, say you could wait a little longer, right? Sure, you could. Timing is a little off. The Shedeur Sanders getting his jersey retired, I think it's preposterous. I just want to call it what it is. And the reason why this hits close to home, for me particularly, I was a super fan of the 1990 and 1991 Colorado football teams. A kid growing up in Philadelphia, I fell in love with college football, with all the bells and whistles and the cinema that is college football in 1990. Again, I talked about CBS and their ability to bring a story to life with the master, several stories, and Jim Nantz, right? And nobody does it like that. Well, I'm going to take you back 30 years. I guess 30 years, if my math is maybe a little more than that. But no, I think 30 years. Anyways, 1990, and I'm a kid at home, and the CBS, the intro music starts, the college football music that we all know now. It's in our DNA. And they show Ralphie the Buffalo running out, right? Colorado is hosting Illinois in Boulder. And it was really before that first team that was a title contender that lost the Orange Bowl to Notre Dame had really taken flight. But the story behind the team was amazing. Of course, Bill McCartney had resurrected this program. I don't even know if you'd say resurrected. He built this program into, a top 20 contender at that point. This is the second game of the season, I think. And they're taking on Jeff George in Illinois. But underneath this all is Salinesi, their quarterback, who is dying of cancer at 22 years of age, watching this game in the luxury box as his teammates are really playing for him, and you could feel it. I've never seen a storyline like this, and it just reached through the TV and grabbed me, and it said, you are going to be a college football fan for the rest of your life. Jim Nantz was calling that game, by the way. He's the first guy you see on camera, and it was just amazing. So I followed that team for the rest of, the time that collection was together. And I was, you could say, well, this guy's a front runner, but, it was Darian Hagan was your triple option quarterback, Eric Bieniemy. On the other side, they had a freshman named Chad Brown. They had Deion Figures, who wore number 2, by the way, who played in the NFL for many years. I think he was an all-pro with the Steelers. And I feel a connection to Chad, not only because I adored him at that time and his team, but I also called a series of football games with him, I think about 2 years ago. We called 2 games to start, a Baylor game, Baylor versus Albany, and then we had an Oklahoma State game the next week, Oklahoma State versus Arkansas Pine Bluff, And Chad was an amazing dude. So, there's a sucker in me, right? We got a guy who I idolized as a kid, and now he's just a broadcaster, and he was just so cool to be around. And it's not like we're buddies or stay in touch, but my experience with Chad Brown was a very good one. And, so I feel invested in this 1990, 1991 group, right, that eventually won a national championship in 91. They beat Notre Dame because Chad was clipped on Rocket Ismail's touchdown return that was called back. Chad was vocal yesterday and 2 days ago when the news came out about how this was a little bit dismissive for his championship team that had so many amazing players that had won a national championship at Colorado, right? And none of those guys have had their jersey numbers retired. None. Not Eric Bieniemy. Not, Sal. I don't know how they honor Sal and Essie today, but it was more for his inspiration than his work on the football field. Even a guy like Chad Brown was a beast at Colorado, and Chad doesn't say anything about himself in any of his tweets, but Chad was a beast at Colorado. He was a beast in the NFL. And there's Alfred Williams, guys I'm not even mentioning now, who were so instrumental to that team's success. I mentioned Deion Figures, who, again, wore number 2. The way I see it, and I love Colorado. I love Shedeur Sanders. I've gone on record saying the thing I love about him more than anything is his grit and his leadership. I mean, he played behind a papier-mâché offensive line and still found a way to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And he's obviously – he might get picked top 3 in the draft. He might get picked 21st. He might fall out of the first round. Like, we don't know about his future. But what we do know is – I know this. Colorado's kind of sold out in this move because it's – 1, it's a money grab. 2, it's I think, you keep Coach Prime happy. And if you're a prisoner of the moment, Coach Prime has done things for Colorado we'll never, ever be able to even comprehend, right? The money train is still rolling at going at light speed down the tracks, right? So you have this relationship with Deion Sanders where you do everything you can to keep him happy and satisfied. But, next year, Deion Sanders could leave your program, leave the program. And then you've got his son's name, retired. And maybe Deion, for all you know, Deion is coming in to coach for, I don't know, he could, let's say, Notre Dame. I'm just throwing that out there, right? Like, no reason to say that because Marcus Freeman. But you get the idea. He could be coming in to coach with another power. And it can feel so less it could feel even more personal, but it will feel worse for a Colorado fan and for a Colorado alum, and certainly for people that are affiliated with that program, that this guy who played 2 seasons at Colorado, and I think 13-12 was the record. They didn't make the college football playoff last year. They came close, amazing season. And to do it now is just so premature. That's why the whole thing just feels weird. Scotty, I see you chuckling. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. I thought you said it very well. I'm sitting here going, this is a program that won a national title.
Yeah.
And you're going to retire Shedeur Sanders' jersey? And I'm not hating. I'm like you. No. I think he's a good kid and a good quarterback, but not only did he not make the playoff, they didn't make the Big 12 Conference Championship game. No. They finished third in the conference. They third or fourth at the end of the standings with BYU right there, right?
Third or fourth.
Dude, so okay, you're one of 2 retired jerseys is a Heisman Trophy winner, one of the best football players ever, period, Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
And the other one's the quarterback of the 3rd place Big 12 team, and they got blown out in their bowl game. I don't understand
which he played in
at all,
and which everybody played in because Deion is the man like that.
Frankly, football, because there's so many players and only so many numbers, it's not often that football teams retire jerseys. Period. The Cowboys have a Ring of Honor, but they don't retire any of those numbers.
No, the only other one from Colorado I think that's retired is Rashaan Salam. Heisman Trophy winner.
And which fitting. That's great. But my point is college football teams don't usually retire numbers.
Yeah.
That's just not something that Baylor women's basketball has retired a handful of numbers. But you've only got, 15 players on a team at a time. Yeah. You've got 90 guys fighting over 99 numbers, and now 2 of them are off the board, and one of them is Shedeur Sanders. I just don't. It's very I think Texas Tech recently retired Patrick Mahomes' number, and that's funny to me too because it's not like Mahomes won a lot of games at Texas Tech, but now he's going to end up retiring as one of the 3 best NFL quarterbacks ever play, going to the NFL Hall of Fame, standing up. I get that.
Yeah.
We don't know. Shedeur Sanders could be out of the league. I hope not, but 4 years from now, Shedeur Sanders could be out of the league.
And we don't know what his relationship...
Making content on TikTok, and he's going to have a retired jersey for finishing third in the Big 12.
And we don't know what his relationship will be with the school. Like Patrick Mahomes, you can also say, like, he has an amazing relationship with Texas Tech. You know, school, you know, a guy from White House, Texas.
He's embraced it. They've embraced him.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I was in Lubbock for a game earlier this year, and the Uber driver was talking about how, you know, adorned around the Chiefs stadium are Texas Tech ads because of the relationship that Patrick Mahomes has with the school.
Yeah.
You know, that's amazing.
Well, and let's just pretend, let's forecast. So you're forecasting one way. Like, what if Deion's not even the coach there in 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Let's forecast the other way. What if Deion Sanders is one of the 5 best coaches in college football, and 2 to 3 years from now, they win the college football playoff? Let's just say they do. Now you have to retire that quarterback's jersey, right? You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. And then it sets a precedent.
Yeah.
Like finishing third and being a Heisman finalist is good enough to retire your jersey.
Yeah.
What happens when 2 quarterbacks from now wins a Heisman? The next quarterback wins a national championship. Now you're going to retire 6 football jerseys, and it makes the whole thing less special.
Yeah.
So I think jersey retirements are as close to sacred as you can get in sports.
Yeah.
And again, Travis Hunter's a unicorn. I think we're both well deserved.
Yeah.
Shedeur,
suspect.
It feels bad.
It doesn't pass the smell test.
Bingo.
It doesn't.
Bingo.
It doesn't. All right. What does pass the smell test is the Ringer and their coverage of the NFL draft, led by, of course, Todd McShay. We got Todd coming up next with Steve Mensch. You'll see. Here. I can't wait to talk to these guys because there's a close relationship and bond I got with them, but also they're bonded with college football fans and NFL fans because of the work they do getting you ready for the draft. The Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovaceks continues. After this, we're talking NFL draft with Steve Mensch and Todd McShay.
For 75 years, Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. No gimmicks, just durable, well-designed bottles built to last. Join us in our mission to amplify life, not complicate it. Because at Nalgene, what goes into our bottles matters as much as the adventures they fuel. Explore more at nalgene.com. That's NALGENE.com. Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Since 2003, we've been connecting buyers and sellers, providing access to sold-out events at prices lower than most secondary market options. Whether it's sports, theater, or concerts, our massive nationwide network ensures you get the tickets you want, guaranteed. For the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. That's TICKETLIQUIDATOR.com. Ticket Liquidator.
I'm Hunter, the founder of Hello Cake, and today we're digging into ED meds. The #1 thing we hear is that guys are sick of waiting for ED meds to kick in. Traditional ED meds take about an hour to kick in as they have to go through your digestive system, where Hello Cake's ED medication dissolves under your tongue and works in about 15 minutes. That's about 3 times faster than traditional ED medication. Curious about ED meds? Go to hellocake.com.
InMotion is more than just a name. It's a legacy of innovation. From supplying electric vehicle parts like motors and inverters since the 1960s to creating cutting-edge electric scooters, hoverboards, and unicycles, InMotion is shaping the future of mobility. Whether you're looking for industrial power solutions or accessible personal transport, InMotion has you covered. Explore our products and experience the future of movement. Visit store.inmotionworld.com today.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files, remove malware and viruses, and protect your device. It also optimizes your Mac's hard disk, fixes disk permission issues, and cleans memory, all to boost your Mac's performance to the max. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
Finding a sleep sack that my baby likes has been a struggle. The sleep sack from Joy is a major upgrade.
It's all natural eucalyptus, which is breathable and hypoallergenic, which is really great for your baby's sensitive skin.
And it's Mimi Climatech, which regulates your baby's temperature.
You can also get Joy's crib sheets, which are made of the same super soft material.
Joy gave my baby comfort
and gave me peace of mind.
At Matt Piffle, we believe in celebrating your journey, past, present, and future. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence, elevate creativity, and honor what matters most. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mappiffle.com and start celebrating your story today.
Maud Lily is your go-to for stylish and affordable fashion that fits your life. Whether you're looking for the perfect swimsuit for a beach day, a chic dress for a night out, or cozy tops for everyday wear, Maud Lily has it all. Their extensive collection of swimwear, including bikinis, tankinis, and one-pieces, always keeps you on trend, while their dresses and tops come in flattering styles for every occasion. Visit maudlily.com today.
Special occasion right now. We got two guys who are headed to Los Angeles on Sunday to cover the NFL draft. Of course, for the Ringer, a couple familiar faces for me and probably for you at home, Todd McShay and Steve Mensch. So,
Mensch, how funny is it listening to Sousa right now? Like,
so professional.
You know what I mean? Like, he's got the voice going. It brings me back to college, like, you know, sitting in one of the apartments, or when Sousa and I would be up doing the taping stuff and him calling everything.
This journey for Todd McShay, folks, if you want to know, this dude has scouting in his bones. They stuck us in a film room the size of a closet to break down Mensch's film. Todd and I were hurt, so we had to look at Mensch playing tackle, and guard, which he did actually an admirable job. But that's where it started. And I want to, by the way, you guys are going to Rosillo's on Saturday for the draft?
Yeah, for the 7th round of the draft. We're gonna break into the draft, break into his house, eat his food, drink his drinks, and try to get him to run a 40 is how I'm pitching the whole thing.
There's no way. There's no way he's doing it.
I got a text, by the way, before we get into all this. I got a text yesterday
oh boy.
from
He's
our
hijacking your show.
Yeah, I mean, of course I am. From Frank Leonard, who just retired from coaching major college coaching. He's going to Division III. Frank Leonard was a coach of ours.
Oh, he's doing Division III.
Yeah, he is.
Of course he is.
He already's given me a tight end for next year's class. But he was thanking us because we did a thing, Sousa, on our show the other day. I didn't realize Mensch saw that Frank Leonard had retired. And so we were kind of talking about Frank. And where you and I used to break down tape, he had that office in the back room. He would come in like, McShay, Elio, you know, like the whole voice. But he was thanking us for doing it. And then his last line was, and yes, he did miss that block versus URI. Coaches never forget.
We had quick Frank Leonard story. He was our running back coach, and our buddy Elio Imbernone, Mr. Ice for Barstool, was a fullback. And Elio wasn't really going to class, especially military science, which we all took advantage of classes like that. Great opportunity to learn from Captain Fortenberry.
Oh, my gosh.
Elio's behind in his curriculum, and, you know, Leonard's got to call this Fortenberry guy. So Elio says to Frank Leonard's like, what's his name? Who I'm calling? This teacher? And he goes, his name's Private Fortenberry. So the Fortenberry answers the phone, and he goes, yes, Private Fortenberry? And quickly you can tell Fortenberry corrects him, and he goes, yes, Captain Fortenberry. No disrespect, sir. No disrespect.
But that was Elio, man.
Yeah, that was Elio.
The fullback who wound up taking his job, Matt Snyder, went to the NFL and played, and Elio was good enough to play at that level, but he had different things in mind.
Well, that's some of the stuff you guys are up against this time of year. You learn stuff about these guys who you fall in love with, and Todd, I've heard you say it often in the past and now in the present. It can be disappointing when a guy who you love, you have a first-round grade on, and with all the due diligence you do, you find out that this guy maybe isn't all he was cracked up to be. Has that happened? And I don't want any names. Has that happened for you this year at all?
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys like, and I think when we say like he's got some character issues who could fall in the draft, like the thing I try to make sure that we do is represent the fact that like that doesn't make him a bad guy. A lot of times it comes from the circumstances, like, and it's not with everyone, but there are a lot of guys, and just like we went to Richmond, which is like a really nice, expensive private school, but there are guys from different, from the South, from the West, from the North, from different social economic backgrounds, and so you try to dig in, and that's what these teams do. Unfortunately, what happens is you figure out, okay, the dad's got a problem. The mom's dealing with her issues. The uncle that raised by a grandparent, or the uncle's got his hands out, or there's an agent involved. So typically with all of these players, there's an external force that's creating it. And like, anyone who studies psychology, like you're not born with almost all of these issues. It's the environment that you're in. And so when you have these conversations with scouts and general managers, it's about like, how, if we were to bring him in, how can we help him? How can we get the best out of him and make him into the man that we know he can be? But we also have to place a value on each pick. And so there's a high value on a top 10 pick. And we can't afford to miss on that pick. So while we love his talent, maybe we take the player with a little bit lesser talent because there's a little bit more of a gamble here. So those are the conversations that are actually going on, that I'm having. The problem is what then comes out of some of these conversations with some other people in the media is, he's got baggage, some character stuff. He's falling. And it's not a true representation, because everyone in the league, it's like Steve and I, and like, I know you're the same mentality. We want all these guys to succeed. It's where do I value that in terms of where I can use a draft pick on him? And then if we do bring him in, how can we support him to make sure that he's the best version of himself?
Yeah, and that brings me to my first question, and we'll kind of start broad. And Todd, we'll start with you, and Mensch, you can jump in. Cam Ward, why is he separated himself, or how has he separated himself from all the quarterback prospects in this draft? Not a quarterback-heavy draft, but this is a guy from South Texas, right? A 0-star prospect that started off at Incarnate Word that is now hands down the number 1 pick in this draft going in to the draft on Thursday. How has he established himself there?
It starts with traits, right? And those traits weren't developed, and guys develop at different points in their lives. Like, look at Steph Curry, right? Like Steph Curry was like an afterthought and didn't have the size and all the things he didn't have. Then he started to grow a little bit, and he started to work, and he worked, and he grinded. And I think you see the result on Saturdays so far, the changing of arm angles, the ability to extend plays, the big time throws down the field. And those are the jumping off points. But like for any young fan or aspiring player out there that's listening or watching, this guy is like the poster child for the grind. He has worked his ass off, Pete. He has, Incarnate Word, like you said, 0-star, gets another opportunity at Washington State, puts his name into the NFL draft, and you're either getting a first round, second round, or go back to school grade from the advisory committee. He gets a go back to school grade, calls Mario Cristobal and says, you know what? Maybe I do want to come to South Florida. Kept grinding and holds his teammates accountable. Like, you talk to people there, the difference is the talent, okay? But then I think as Tennessee got into this process, they loved the talent. It may not be Caleb Williams. It may not be Jaden Daniels. It may not be Drake May, but it's not that far off. But the reason why it went from, we're shopping this first pick and there's a generational talent at other positions to we're not even going out to Shedeur Sanders' private workout because we're picking no trade offers. He's our guy, is because they got to know him and they got to talk to his teammates and the people around the campus. And they figured out, this is the guy that can actually change a franchise.
So, and Mensch, how do rumors like get out? Because I had heard, obviously unsubstantiated, that his teammates didn't love him. How do roommates like that escape his camp and his circle or a school?
You always consider the source, right? I mean, where is this coming from? Does someone have an axe to grind? I always think about the Jaden Daniels situation at Arizona State. I mean, I think a lot of people have seen that video where he's left Arizona State to go to LSU, and some of his teammates are surrounding his locker and clearing it out and talking about how he's out of here. You know, and some people feel burnt. There's, you know, it's a human relationships are difficult like that. And consider what the source is. You know, our understanding is that this kid is an unbelievable teammate, and you do see it. You know, does it add up on tape? He's an ascending player. There's no question about it. And that speaks to his work ethic, because when I watched him at Washington State, I was like, this kid's so much fun to watch, but I'm not sure how well his game translates to the NFL. And then you start seeing him at Miami, and he's still making some of the same mistakes, but he's starting to figure things out. And if you get him to start figuring things out and continue on that path, he's going to be great in the NFL. But I mean, to get back to your question, you got to consider where things are coming from. You can't.
Yeah, think there were some guys that we played with at Richmond that were total pains in the ass.
Right.
When you look back on it, you're like, I kind of respect them now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, yeah, I don't like them very much, but my goodness, I now I've grown up, I've matured a little bit. I respect the hell out of them.
Everyone's got their own agenda. Yeah.
Yeah. One guy who I know everyone respects, right? Travis Hunter, and covering the Big 12 a lot this year, like I do. Just a huge piece of real estate for the conference. And, you know, it looks like he'll be a huge piece of real estate for Cleveland. McShay, I love to go back to when you're with your grandfather Marshall at the Rose Bowl in 1997 watching Charles Woodson, right, against Washington State. The lazy comparison for me, right, because I can be lazy, and I don't do this for a living, is Charles Woodson. But who is a prospect you can compare Travis Hunter to? I mean, we've never really seen this before because of the amount of snaps that he played on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and I went back and looked, and I need to brush up on this because we did this back in, like, I think November, Mensch, was it, when we did, like, Mensch took one side of the ball, I took the other, we did a full evaluation, right? And at that point, I went back and looked because I was curious, right? Like, because everyone's like, yeah, Champ Bailey, Charles Woodson, Deion Sanders, his coach.
Yeah.
Like, between all of them, well, between Champ and Charles, they had fewer than like 6 or 7 combined catches in their career in the NFL. You know, so like everyone's like, he's the next two-way player. Like, no. And Prime, I think he had like fewer than 60 or right around 60 catches. And obviously there was the return game element as well. But he had a long career in the NFL. And that number of catches represents, like, you know, 5-6 catches a year, okay, on average. So when people start talking about he's just like this guy, my answer is like, nah, he's not like anyone. We've literally never seen what Travis Hunter is about to try to do. And the same thing with like Shohei Ohtani. And this was mentioned. Mensch came up with this. It's a brilliant comparison. Everyone's like, nah, yeah, I get it, like Babe Ruth, you know, but like, in modern
understood that. I was like, there's no way this guy will, you know, play both ways.
Yeah, but so the part that concerns me and the load management, if you want to bring it to the NBA, the load management aspect of this is not stamina. Okay. The part that concerns me a little bit is he's got a kind of a linear frame, as we like to call it, kind of, you know, lean, has had some nicks, shoulder and I worry about, like, all right, now against grown men playing corner full time, how does that hold up? But anyone who's been to an NFL game, like the TV timeouts, we're watching tape and it's like 80 to 96 plays a game on both sides of the ball. He played over 1,000 snaps on average the last 2 years. Okay. So it's not a stamina thing. The game's slower, the timeouts, the tempo's not as fast. He's got it stamina wise. It's how do we get him on the field right away and make a huge impact? And I think that's going to be a wide receiver. But we'd rather him in the cornerback room where communication is at the utmost importance. And there's 10 other guys that they've got to all jive together. So it'll be fascinating to see whether it's the Giants at 3 or if he falls to New England. I don't think he's getting to 3 or 4, but if he doesn't go to if he goes to Cleveland, it's wide receiver right away, and they'll figure out how to utilize him at the cornerback position. If you were to follow those other teams, maybe you could see, but I think New England would be the same. At the end of the day, he's going to play both sides. I think wide receiver will be the bigger impact early. Mensch, I don't like you could take it from here, but I do think you would be it would be criminal to not utilize him on both sides of the ball in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have
Let's
to.
see that beard again.
Yeah. There he is.
I mean, you have to. That's his value, right? You have to play him on both sides. I'm fascinated, and I know this is down the road, but this is how I think. I want to see that second contract negotiation, because the rookie contract, there's only so much you can do. But if this plays out the way we think it's going to play out, and he's going to play all these snaps on offense and defense, that is going to be a contract like we have never seen in the NFL for a non-quarterback. I can't wait to see how that gets ironed out, because how do you pay a player that's playing two different positions? That's going to be interesting to see down the road.
Yeah,
Right, folks, you hear Steve Mensch? That's a guy who not only did he and Bill Belichick both go to Andover High, they have other stuff in common as well. It's a brilliant football minds. All right, let's go to Shedeur. Todd, you had this before anybody else. Shedeur and the possibility of New York starting to heat up down the stretch. He's there today, or they're out in Boulder today, right? New York Giants brass. The reality of him going that high to 3, like, how realistic is that?
Here's the information I'm getting. It's very common at this point in time. Not everyone is going to share the same opinion. All three of us could go watch the same 200 plays on a player and have 3 varying opinions on them, right? So where they are in the process now with all of these quarterbacks, but especially Shedeur, is my understanding is there's some who are, banging the table harder for Shedeur, while others have a few more questions. Okay. And we can get into the lack of great arm, playing in that division, playing in that weather, all those things. But at the end of the day, they recognize how important this decision is. I'm getting the strong sense that it will still be, let's say, as we assume, it's going to be Cam Ward 1 to Tennessee, Travis Hunter 2 to Cleveland. I still think it's going to be Abdul Carter 3 to the Giants. What this work is being done, and if you recognize, everyone's talking about Shedeur. Turn on Get Up, Sports Center, Good Morning Football, whatever it is you're watching in the mornings with the NFL. Everyone's talking about Shedeur, right? But do you know they're having private workouts in this final 2-week span with Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck from Louisville, Jalen Milroe, and Shedeur Sanders. Okay, so my understanding from talking to people in the league is this is more about getting everyone on board. Where do we stand? Let's find a collective, kind of a consensus, or let's figure out where we are on how important or how much do we love them? Do we love them enough to package that 33rd pick with a 3rd round pick and maybe a 2nd round pick next year to go up to pick 15, where Atlanta only has 5 draft picks in this entire class? Or are we willing to wait to see, if he gets past 9, do we want to wait longer? Or do we think we have to move all the way up to 8 to do it? So I think they're trying to manage and figure out, is there that big of a gap between, let's say, Shedeur and Jackson Dart and Tyler Shuck and Jalen Milroe? And maybe if it's not as big a gap, maybe we'll sit back and wait and see if one of those guys, if we've narrowed it down, we can live with either of these 2 guys. Maybe they let Shedeur go 21 to Pittsburgh if that's where he winds up falling, and they move in with Minnesota, who only has 4 picks in this draft at 24, and they take one of those other guys. So I think that's the process they're going through now. I can't say with certainty that it is, but that's kind of the information that's coming out right now.
Yeah, and if folks don't want to get left out as this situation continues to evolve, you subscribe to the McShay Report. That is awesome stuff. To take the air out of the balloon just a little bit, but that's reality, right? Like people, Shedeur, they're going to Boulder. He's going 3, settle
and
down.
Maybe he does, Pete.
Yeah.
Maybe
he could go 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if you're in love with the quarterback, take him. But it doesn't make sense in terms of the grid.
And we can't emphasize this enough. When it comes to decisions like this, when your owner cares about what the New York Post is writing every day, what's going in the Times, what's on the front page, and it's been Aaron Rodgers the last couple of years, and sick and tired of being second fiddle in that market. You never know. Pete, we worked together for a while.
Yeah.
The stories that we would get about whether it was Al Davis or another owner, like you set your board, you got all these players lined up, the scouts are all on board, the college director, the GM, they've made a consensus, they feel great. And then Al Davis comes in his jogging suit, swoosh, 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 down the hall. And it's like, no, I like that guy. He ran a 4.29. Let's take him. And it's like, what did I spend 15 months about? You know what I mean? So you never know at this point in the process what is driving that final decision when it comes to a top 5 pick, and especially at the quarterback position.
You want to talk about on-the-job training, when we all work for Hort, I was in the office when he's talking to Michael Lombardi, and, of course that stuff's off the record, but I'm like, wow, this is so interesting. I send to like Nick Narstedt, like these notes about Al Davis. You could smell his cologne from a mile away, and there's no locks on the doors in the facility. And Horton's like, Pete, these are people's lives. Take that down, All right, a couple more before I let you guys out of here because I know you're busy. 2 worlds colliding for me: the Big 12, Tet McMillan, Arizona, and the Dallas Cowboys. That's a match made in heaven for the hype train here in Dallas, and as far as the Cowboys are concerned. Is there a possibility? I love that, by the way, but the Cowboys have so many needs. Is there a possibility that they move around in the first round?
Mitch, you take this one.
Yeah, I mean, of course there is. This was going to be interesting because we have to tie the quarterback market into this, depending on how far Shador falls, what happens at 9 with the Saints, who's going to want to trade up and get a quarterback. Yeah, they could start moving around in that sense and pick up more picks. If they do stick at 12, Tet makes sense. Even though I think Todd and I both have Matthew Golden, the Texas receiver, ahead of Tet, he's probably a better fit for Dallas because when you're pairing him with CeeDee Lamb, you get that bigger body receiver. That makes some sense. But yeah, of course they can move around. The only issue I will say with all of this, and we've talked about this for a while now, is there is a drop after the Abdul Carter, the Travis Hunter, the Mason Grahams, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. After those guys, there's a little bit of a drop, and there's not much difference between a lot of different players. So getting someone to trade up, it's great. I mean, I think New England at 4 would love someone to come up and get someone so they can get more picks. But you have to find the dance partner. That's always the case.
I keep hearing from people in the league, and sometimes it's 9. Most of the time it's like 10 or 11. The difference between the player you're going to get at 11 and the player at 35 is not that big of a gap. Okay, and you hear that, and it's like, yeah, I get it, but like I like this. But at the end of the day, like I was just going through my rankings again last night, and I'm like, you know what? There kind of isn't. Yes, obviously I'm ranking it, but I got a bunch of 9, like we're on a 100 scale, draft grades. Like I've got just a couple 95s, a couple 3 94s or 94s and 93s. And that's like you just mentioned, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Ashton Ginty, running back from Boise State, Tyler Warren, the tight end, Mason Graham from Michigan. That's like the 5. Then Jalen Walker would be in right behind them. Cam Ward. Okay. So now we're down to like seven players. Then there's a few more that they're like, yeah, these guys are different than the rest. But then you get to like 11 or 12, whatever it is. And I've got a bunch of 91s, 90s, and 89 grades, like a bunch, and down to about 35, 37. Okay. So to answer, and it's running a parallel with what Mensch just said. Outside of the quarterbacks, or maybe an edge rusher, I don't see where our team's going to be like, yeah, I want to move up and give away, because there's a bunch of starters I can get in rounds 2 and rounds 3 this year. But Dallas specifically, I do like that fit. I have problems with Tet McMillan when you start to dig in, like the practice habits, the attention to detail, the not finishing routes. I see the physical traits with in terms of like being a big X, having that kind of basket. For him, it's volleyball. For Drake London, it was basketball. I see the comparisons physically in the acrobatic catches and a little bit of the run after catch. I don't see the same dog in those two guys. And that's the kind of the concern. But when he was with Jed Fish, and as one scout said to me the other day, and Jed had his foot on his throat, he was great.
Yeah.
But then it was a new program, new quarterback. Accountability wasn't the same. So what are you going to get when you remember Schottenheimer gave us this advice like 100 years ago, Seuss. The hardest part about scouting Remember, we were just pups. And I remember him saying this. The hardest part about scouting is figuring out when a human being gets more money, fame, and free time than he's ever had before. So those are all the factors that kind of have to go into it.
This is great stuff. All right, Ashton Genty, undersized guy. Again, the comparison that I like to make, I look at him, I see LaDainian Tomlinson or Marshall Faulk. You know, what is this guy in the NFL? Again, I just mentioned two undersized backs, so I'm hitting him with a broad stroke there. But where does this guy in the NFL fit?
He's undersized, but he's thick, man. I mean, he's built low to the ground. He's well built. I get that he's short, and he doesn't have. I mean, he's not a 220-pound guy, but when you look at his build, he's a thick guy who can break a lot of tackles. And I think, I mean, it's been a common comp. I love your comps. I mean, I remember when we were at Richmond staying up late to watch Marshall Faulk was at San Diego State.
Yes.
Every night, every Saturday night was a show. I mean, we'd get done with our game and be throwing that on at night because he was just so good. But I mean, the Alvin Kamara comp I think is really good too because
Tom Luganville or
Al
Luganville,
Al
Al
Luganville
Luganville coaching.
Yeah.
Little did we know at the time.
Yeah.
So I mean, where he fits is he's day one. He's the alpha in the running back room. He's your bell cow. I mean, he's the guy that right away. He's the guy. I mean, his film is outrageous with how many tackles he breaks, how quick he is, how decisive he is. The vision is so underrated. And then, you know, you talk about he didn't catch as many balls last year, but he went 2 years ago. I mean, he's without a doubt going to make an impact as a receiver out of the backfield.
Just a couple quick additions to that.
Yeah.
I was talking to a GM the other day, and I was like, listen, you got, Marion Hampton. You got Travion Henderson. You've got Quinshon Judkins, Cam Scattaboo, Caleb Johnson from Iowa. There are so many backs. This is the most talented running back class I can remember ever evaluating. How big is the gap, though? Like, is it worth using a top 6, top 7 pick when you know you can get a really good guy later? He's like, it's that big. I was like, okay. I was creating I was like, all right. You kind of like just shut me down.
Where you go with that?
So I was trying. It was a leading question. But then we're getting ready for our live stream, and I'll selfishly promote our show. We're live streaming during the first round, the second round, and from Russillo's house on Saturday throughout the draft. So come join us on the McShay Show. But we're creating these one pages, trying to give people a feel for who these guys are. And usually it's like, good vision, good this, and needs to work on this. For Genty, I was like, I want to express the difference with him. I wrote in there, it jogged my memory, LaDainian Tomlinson combination of vision, contact balance, and I forget, it was like elusiveness or whatever it was, change of direction. And then the second one was Alvin Kamara type impact in the passing game. And the third one was, and this is the part that I don't think anyone has been talking about it, or people haven't talked about enough, Herschel Walker-like commitment.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow. That's a nice
you hear all these horror stories about NIL money and like people with their hands out and buying Ferraris and all this stuff, right? Apparently he's like a 5-year NFL veteran already. He's like the cryo and like the nutrition, the dedication to his body. Like, this guy is built for the NFL, and he's the type of worker and committed player that's it's hard to see him failing unless everything around him really goes poorly.
Dude, just to bring some context, like being out on the road calling games this year, it is scary, the NIL stuff. You get like a 17-year-old at Arizona State walking out to a Maybach in the park. Not a bad kid, but just like it's so like magnificent. Everything.
I want you to think about we're 19 years old, living in those university apartments, right?
Yeah.
Scratching to get like, hey, I get $4. I get $9 left in my account. Like, all right, let's pool it together. Let's get some Papa John's tonight, right?
Yeah.
Spider card.
If I handed you $1.5 million or 800,000 with our mindsets back then, how long would that have lasted us?
Not great, man.
And how stupid would we have been with it? And then so it's like, no, I don't blame any of these guys. And the other part too, that we were fortunate enough not to have to the level of some of these young men. It kind of touches on what this is the first time that I'm going through, and like I talk to these GMs and I get the reports and they're reading them from their databases, and almost all of them, where if there's some kind of character concern, almost all of them have something in there, like dad spending the money at the casino, mom struggling with this, uncle he's got his hands out, agent in the pocket, cousins are hanging around. And so like I said the other day, I was with Russillo and Daniel Jeremiah. We were talking about the Nico situation. And no one wants to hear this, but like, the players deserve to be paid. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
100%.
Right. So that's the jumping off point. B, they deserve to be paid as much as the market will allow. I do think there needs to be a cap on it for the preservation of college football for the long term, but I still think it should be a lot of money. But C, allow them to access a portion of it, but there should be worked in with every general manager now in college football and whoever's going to oversee all of this stuff eventually. There's got to be some kind of trust put in where they can't access some of it. And I know that goes against everything in America, but we're helping them. Like you can access 20% of it or whatever that number is, but you get it over time so that when you're 25 years old and you're looking for a house and the football career didn't work out or whatever it is, there's got to be a way to help these young men out. Because the first thing, like before you get in the league, you have meetings with financial advisors and they're trying to help you, all those sorts of things. These guys are younger, less mature, and are being handed more money than a lot of the rookies in the NFL. And like, here, take it, whatever you want,
Hey, man, I'll tell you what, if we were getting paid $800,000 back then, McShay and I would have gotten that goddamn dog we adopted some better training. I can promise.
Oh my gosh.
All right, last question.
Was it Tatum? Was it Tatum?
Tate. Yeah, Tatum. All right. So last question. Give Matt Davis a legitimate grade at tight end heading into the draft. Let's say that Jim Reed had a pass-happy offense, and Matt Davis was able to tap into the tools that got him offered a scholarship by John Cooper at Ohio State or George Perlis at Michigan State at the time. Where is Davis? Where's his grade?
Let's give him a 40 time. What do you guys think he would have ran?
Probably
Let's
like
start there.
4.8, 4.81.
Really?
I think that's high.
I think he would have ran a low 4.7s, high 4.6s. My guy can move.
Oh, you're just being a kiss ass.
Yeah, he is.
He's Jake Ferguson.
Yes.
He's running a 4.81, but he always gets open. He's catching every ball in traffic. He doesn't look the part of this great inline blocker, but he's going to block his ass off. He's going to get to the league as a 3rd, 4th round pick, and he's going to outplay where he's drafted. And you're going to be like, I don't understand why he's one of the most productive tight ends in the league this year, but he is, because he knows how to get open, does the little things, innate ability and feel for the game. He's Jake Ferguson.
Move over Marcus Dupree. We've got a new best that never was, Matt Davis. McShay and Mensch, I truly love you guys. McShay, I'll never be able to thank you for all the doors you opened for me.
Oh, please.
No, it's the truth.
I'm thrilled to see what you're doing and how much you love it, and like your name popping up here and there, whether it's on Awful Announcing, talking about diet Dr. Pepper cream
soda, baby. Yeah.
But no, it's great to see, man.
No, I love it. The calling games is what I always wanted to do.
You were born to do. You were calling games when you were 18 years old when we first met. No one but like 8 of us sitting around you were listening.
Practicing in the study hall, doing the Bill Walton impersonation.
Yeah, getting in trouble, not doing his work.
He's working on his social
skills.
Let you
go. Marissa is the greatest. Tell her I said
she's
thank
unbelievable.
You. Subscribe to the McShay Report and make sure you keep up with all their live coverage. On The Ringer, they're going to be at the studios, and you heard of all the live shows. Guys, I cannot thank you enough.
This has been awesome.
We'll
have to talk to you after the draft, bud.
You got it.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. That's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is Stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
I don't know, if Bubble wasn't here, I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
Great segment. Thanks so much to Todd and Steve for taking their time. And make sure you get caught up on the Todd McShay Show, or the McShay Show, and obviously what's going on with the Ringer and the McShay Report. Now we bring in Scotty Swindler. We go from college football in the NFL draft to college basketball in the Baylor Bears. It's been a wild, wild offseason already, as it has been around the country, not just unique to Baylor country. Scotty, your thoughts on Baylor assembling a roster not just of talent, but a roster that fits, right?
Yeah.
Fits with each other. I don't know that collectively the talent fit with each other last year. And we've talked about that's the key to making this stuff work, is having a roster that fits together, like Houston did last year, like so many other teams.
And Terrence Ganaway mentioned that on Please Bear With Me Sunday night, that it felt like half the time you were watching Baylor basketball this past season, it felt like guys playing pickup in the gym. Right? Like there was not a lot of cohesion.
Not a lot of continuity.
I think what I like most about this class that Drew is bringing in the transfer portal. And, of course, we had additions in the last, I think, 24 hours, both
Yeah,
of them.
Dan Skillings.
Dan Skillings from Cincinnati, good wing piece, and then Caden Powell from Rice, who played at Midway High School, so local Waco kid coming back home.
Yeah.
Center. I think what I'm seeing in this roster construction is an emphasis on physicality, length, and defense, more so than what I think last year. It was like, let's get some veterans who have high production. So Norchad O'Meara, that worked out. You had a double-double machine every night, but also when Josh O went down, you're asking a 6'7" guy to play center, and that created some issues defensively.
And Scott Drew told me point blank, if he could have gone back and recreated that roster, he would have added more depth.
Absolutely. Jeremy Roach, I think you probably paid pretty good NIL money to get Jeremy Roach. I think you're thinking veteran, production, and that one didn't work out so great. No. Let's just be honest. Like, you had a better point guard coming in as a freshman. And so what I like about this roster, it reminds me of Drew's best teams. I'm thinking of the 2010 Elite Eight team with Epe Udo as the centerpiece, Quincy Acey and Anthony Jones starting on the bottom. On the bottom of that 2-3 zone, you had a 7-foot wingspan, a 7-foot wingspan, and a 7-1 wingspan.
Yeah.
Like, that's what this team is starting to resemble a little bit with the length. And I made a little graphic for you here, Pete. It might cover you up just a little bit, so I won't keep it up very long. But Scott Drew, the chef, is in the kitchen. That dude is cooking right now. He is absolutely cooking.
That's up there. Put that back up there. That's up there with the Mona Lisa. I mean, that's amazing work, Scotty. Wow.
That's AI for you, Pete.
Are you kidding me?
That's what ChatGPT can do for you. Yeah.
He is cooking. That's great, Scotty.
So I really said this when I walked in today. I am trying not to get overly excited.
Yeah.
Because if you just looked at last year's roster, you might have gotten excited.
Well,
and the pieces didn't fit. But as you pointed out, I think they are probably prioritizing defensive presence, length, which will help in the Big 12. And then, I think like with the Skillings, he's coming in probably knowing he's not the starter.
Yes.
But you say, hey, you have a role to play. Here's your role. Can you give us 22 minutes a night, high intensity on the defensive end, hit a couple of threes per game? Boom. That's exactly. And I think Drew is probably pitching a vision for this team that these guys are buying into, and that's really exciting.
Let me throw a little water on this because I have to do it myself to stay tempered. ESPN's, it's like the way too early top 25 for next year. They've got 5 Big 12 teams in the top 15. And for the first time in a while, Baylor's not one of them. Now, let me ask you this. Do you almost like that?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, and Scott Drew said it, right? He said at one point, we are the hunted now. And there's been a target on our back since winning a national championship. You're not going to sneak up on anybody once you win a national title.
Yeah.
I do like that. And frankly, those rankings came out before the last 2 commitments.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Baylor would be knocking on that 25 door now. But when you look at this roster, I was looking at this on 24/7 Sports. 6 commitments from the transfer portal, 5 of them ranked 90 or better on the grades here. And then Powell, the center from Rice, an 88. So and then 2, Michael Rautai and Obi Agbem are 95s. Those 2 guys are expected to score 18 a night. I mean, you've got some really, really strong pieces here.
If you're comparing them with the rest of the transfer portal, though, I think Agbem is how you say his name?
Yeah.
He was the highest ranked guy, and he's ranked like in the 50s. So
I've seen several rankings that actually have Rautai from Oregon State higher than Agbem.
Okay.
They are both very reliable scorers. Very different too. Agbem's a true guard, 3-point shooter, can play off the bounce, create his own. He can really create his own shot.
Yeah.
That's the player Baylor fans are going to love. He's going to be electric. And then
I wonder if did Agbem and Caden Powell play together at Wyoming?
That's a good question.
We would have to look that up.
And then Rautai, more of a wing. Can hit from outside, but is also going to be able to play inside out. It's going to be really good. And remember, I'm looking at those 6 names in the portal, and then you add Tunde Yesufu to it. That's probably your alpha. Already drawing the Anthony Edwards comparisons at Hoop Summit this past weekend.
Yeah.
Really dynamic scoring guard who can also play some defense. Again, Pete, I really think the story, we're going to be in December going, this team is lights out defensively. And that is just a completely different vibe than this past season.
Yeah, I feel like there's more of a general manager hat that's been put on. You know, we haven't talked about it on the show yet, but Josh O is out now. He's in the portal. And, you know, we wish him well, but, you know, now that he's out of the mix, I don't worry about that too much because of the injury that he's coming back from and because of the talent that you've brought in on the low post now. I mean, he was, as much as he was a body that gave you minutes and a presence down low, you mentioned the term moderately productive.
I said that on the break, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really what he was.
Serviceable Big 12 center. And, and I would have loved to have him back because, honestly, I would love to be 3 deep at that spot. Like, honestly, if you've got these other 2 transfers and he's coming back off injury and you can work him in slowly. Yeah. And, you know, if he comes back full strength, he's in the rotation. I think that would have been great. Bear the Truth did comment and say, mutual question mark. I definitely think so. I think once Drew was able to get that commitment from Powell, that makes it a lot easier for Baylor to wish him well and send him on his way. And then Bear the Truth, I'd be interested in what you're saying here.
Outside issues for sure last year. Okay. Okay. I think Coach Drew is on a 3-year plan here. Patience.
I'd be curious about the 3-year plan comment, just because I hope you're right. Like I hope we're starting to shape what Baylor basketball is moving forward in this era. But
far be it for me to disagree with Bear the Truth.
This looks like a win-now roster to me, though.
Well, I think they're all win-now rosters. You know, I talked to a softball coach last week in preparation to call a softball game, and they were like, you know, we're building a program, right? Like you said, Bear the Truth, like a 3-year situation. Like, you know, some schools are bringing in freshmen so they can really season them themselves, and they know that they'll stay. And I was even thinking, as a softball coach was talking to me, I was like, yeah, right. If these kids have an explosive year, they're going to go wherever they can to get the most money. The girl, Nigel Kennedy, is getting $1 million from Texas Tech. Like, so I don't know that anyone in this world can really have a 3-year plan in college athletics. I just don't know.
Totally valid.
I just don't know that there's the market for that when you look about the problems with sustainability. I mean,
totally valid. Yeah.
Just going through ESPN's transaction wire, which it is now. I mean, the names, like, just to catch up, it's wild. Keshawn Gilbert going to Georgia. That's just one that, like, jumps out at me, right? There's just a lot of names in here. Jaden Quaintance going to Kentucky. Keshawn Hall, sorry, going to Auburn. Josan Sannon, right, going to St. John's. There's a lot. There's just so much. And, again, a higher profile sport. KJ Lewis leaving Arizona, going to Georgetown. Like, that's all money and minutes, you know. So it's going to be fun to watch, and I appreciate the understanding of the basketball ops folks at Baylor and, of course, Scott Drew. Kind of like, all right, we're going to do this a little differently this year.
Absolutely. Bear the Truth responds to my claim, Natty now or win Big 12 now.
I think
both of those are almost the same. Because if you win the Big 12 at this stage of the conference, you're a national championship favorite.
Yeah, I just mentioned 5 of the top 15 teams preseason ranked now, way too early, are Big 12 teams.
But I think this team, and again, we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
There's still more of the roster to build out. We got to see how this rotation starts to come together early in the season in November. But the talent you have, I think, can compete with anybody in the Big 12 at the top level.
Yeah.
Now you're building depth. But I think Agboom, Ratai, Yesufu, that gives you a core of scorers that can keep up with anybody. You've added 2 really long centers. I love the Bodo addition. I think him being a defense-first player down low is going to, like, Baylor has missed that. I miss Epe Udo. I miss Jonathan Motley. I miss Corey Jefferson. Like all these old Baylor fans know. Like those, yes, let's get someone who can block some shots, really intimidate you down low. I think you've got that now. You build out your depth, and, of course, all of this is health dependent.
Yeah,
all of it.
But everything is everywhere.
I mean, any of these.
Everything is everywhere.
Right. But all that being said, I think this has the optics of being a let's get back to the top of the conference. and let's compete for titles again. And I'm good with it. Now, if you bring in this much talent this year in the portal and you struggle to find cohesion and game plan, and we get back to conference play next year, and it looks like this past season, I'm not asking any questions about Scott Drew, but I think as Bear the Truth just says, you know, he pointed this out a lot this season. You've got a young coaching staff. Maybe you start asking some questions about how all of that works.
Yeah, no, there's
if
no
for a second
question.
year in a row, it doesn't seem like they're playing team ball. But I really, 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 I do not bet against Scott Drew.
No, I don't worry about that.
I really
right
think
now,
this team's going to play well.
It's a concern, but I don't worry about that right now. There was one other point I was going to make, but we're already over, and I forget it.
But we started late too.
Yeah, we did start a couple minutes late. That's it for now. Well, you know what I was going to say? Bodo meet Federico. How about that? Oh, and there you go. There's the chef. But yeah, by the way, Texas Tech is ranked 3rd, and Houston is ranked 1st in those way too early rankings by ESPN. So that's
Listen, those two teams aren't going anywhere. Kansas is going to bounce back. Like, let's not pretend like Bill Self's going to be down very long.
Yeah.
The Big 12 is going to continue. I mean, BYU, we've been talking all week last week. BYU is putting together maybe the best roster in college
They're
basketball.
preseason 6, I think, right now.
But
way too early.
remember, their $7 million player scored 24 in the Hoop Summit.
Yeah.
Baylor's player scored 24 in the Hoop Summit. So I'm putting Tunde against anybody. I'm already on the Tunde train, baby.
Tunde versus AJ.
My next graphic is going to be, we'll do this later this week, Tunde Yesufu captaining a train, conducting a train. I'm getting on the Tunde train, baby. Let's go.
All right, we'll get on the Pete Sousa Show train tomorrow, and make sure you like and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend. We'll see you tomorrow. Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacic.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.